Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome to episode 46 of my Factorio Space Age Guide. So in the last episode, we beefed up our mining because we had a lot of mining issues. We also kind of started to piece together where the trains were going to be coming into the train hub. We set up where the oil was coming in, the multiple different stones, some iron ores, some copper ore, and some coal. And in this episode, we're going to I said that we're gonna start setting up some of the train, like how we're gonna be setting up the logistics or how we're gonna be bringing the trains in. There's a couple of other kind of basics that I want to go over first. I just want to like show some stuff, but we're also gonna be making a shunting station, and this might end up being a two-part because I know this is gonna be pretty long. Some of the explanation for some of this might be pretty long, so thankfully we have the blueprints kind of like set already, so I'm hoping that maybe it won't take that long. Anyways, so there's a couple of things that I just wanted to show off first. Not necessarily show off, but show you. So I have these, and this is an equal distance. So over here we have 20 rails, and over here we have 20 rails. Now, I have two of these because I actually, whenever I set this up, I created this train station first and then this train station. And then with this setup, which is the exact same size as this one, I set this train station first and then this train station. They're all named stone. All of the train stations that I have in my examples for the most part right now are called stone. And I have a little blueprint for a train that is just, hey, go to stone. So it's going to prioritize the one that I created first. And in this situation, it is also going to prioritize the one that I created first. However, if I were to take this, I meant to cut that. So now I have shortened this side. Now I made this side first and this side second. So if I were to shorten that, you can see now instead of going left, it goes right. Why? Because the train is going to take the path of least resistance. So we're going to kind of showcase that again here. So same situation. I have two examples. I created this train station first and then this train station second, this one third. And then on this one, I created this one first, this one second, and this one third. So that one is going to go into the first section first. Okay, all right. Okay, stop. I did not enable the train limit. That is totally my bad. There we go. So whenever I talk about trains like to take the path of least resistance, going to train stations is included in that. So I set these up from top to bottom. And you can see it is still going to prefer the path of least resistance. It is going to the first available station, the closest available station. So when I'm discussing like maybe saturation or path of least resistance, they're going to go to the closest ones first. This is what I mean. And this is going to bite us in the butt in the hub because, as an example, all of our iron trains, if you were paying attention to where the iron trains were set up and how we were going to implement them, the first iron trains that we have set up are going to steel. So maybe I might decide to swap those. That would be kind of a logistical pain in the butt, but it's maybe possible. It's maybe possibly something we can do. Like I said, would require a little bit of maneuvering. Maybe it's possible that we could set it up like that. So that way that the first trains to come in would be iron plates instead of the first trains coming in to be steel plates. But that's kind of like the reasoning behind this. So this is just kind of like a diagram, like a basic diagram. So let's pretend that this is the hub. We have stone being requested into the hub. This is our shunting station. and this is our stone provider. So when we have, there's kind of two different ways that you can go about setting up trains. You can literally tell a train, I don't know, let's just make this here. So I want you to go to, did I not set this one? Okay, so I want you to go to the provider and I want you to quote unquote fill up. So this is, let's just say full cargo. Well, nope, no. We would say full cargo. I'm not actually, like, this is not actually something we would leave in there. We would only have full cargo, but in this case, we're not going to be actually setting anything up. So we want to mimic the idea of it getting full cargo. And then we want you to go to the requester station, empty cargo. And we're going to do this little inactivity 1 second thing as well. So go to the stone provider, wait for, full cargo, then go to anywhere that is requesting stone and stay there until you have an empty cargo. So when we set this up like this, it's going to the mining outpost and then it's going to fill up and then it is going to the train hub and it's going to empty. And that is basically why? Whatever. Oh, it doesn't have cargo. Wait. What are you? What in the world? Let's give it cargo. And nope, I can't do it there. Now I was about to say, now it's gonna completely remove everything that I just did. No. I'm not gonna worry about the full and empty. Like, we can just assume that much. But you kind of get the idea, right? It's going to go here until it's full, and then it's going to go here. So this is the absolute most basic version. Now, if we were to have a couple stations, like let's say that all of these were stone, and they are, and we had a limit of 3 for the first mining outpost. We had a limit of 3 for the second one, and we had a limit of 3 for the third one. What that would mean is that every time we place a train, I'm just going to let these kind of crash into each other. What's going to happen is it's going to send 3 trains to the first station before it ever sends another train to the second one. So if these are just filling up and then going through and filling up, they will come here and wait. And as long as there are 3 trains here, even if you're only bringing in like half a yellow belt of stone and it takes your train 10 minutes to load up, you will never get a train going out here. You would need 9 trains in this situation to be able to spread the love. Or let's say, I don't know, 7 trains. You would need this fully saturated with 3, this fully saturated with 3 to be able to get this guy 1. And that's what the trains will do. You could be like really basic about it and be like, okay, well, this is stone 1, this is stone 2, this is stone 3, in which case these are all completely separate names. And if I go here and just say, hey, go to stone, there's no stone. It reads, stone 1, stone 2, stone 3. These are 3 separate train station names. It has no idea where to go because it was looking for, let's say, just stone. So that is some of the advantages of train stop names. We can set them all to be the exact same thing, and they will do exactly what they're told. So you can separate your, for example, your stone, you can separate your coal, or if you really wanted to, you could separate them individually, which I really don't recommend. That is quite the manual task. You would have to set up every single train to be able to go to, let's say, train stop 1, then do, to full, and then train stop 2. Or you could just have them all be stone. Everything that's mining stone, you could do stone and then go there. So that is the basic setup. The setup that I prefer to use is one that uses a shunting station. And it's going to seem kind of weird because what's going to end up happening is the train is going to go from the shunting station to the miner, from the mining outpost to the hub, and from the hub back to the shunting station. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, that's an extra step. Doesn't that like slow us down? Doesn't that hinder us? Like, what is going on here? What that's actually going to do, though, is it's going to let us set up a way of using interrupts. That's a nice little, a new little feature that they added to the game. So instead of telling this, hey, go to that station and then go to this station, we're going to instead tell it, I didn't set these up. Go me. Okay, so now all of these are labeled as shunting. So we're going to tell this, hey, go to the shunting station. That is all I want you to do. I'm not even going to add any wait conditions. You just go there and wait for their orders. So that is how we have this set up. This is the complicated version. So now the train is just going to the shunting station, but we need a way for it to be able to leave. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to not even name any of our stations as anything but provider. That is it. Every single outpost, every single thing that we're picking up, except for liquids, everything solid that we're picking up, provider chest. That's it. That's all we have to do. So we need conditions for that. So we're going to add an interrupt. And you can call this interrupt anything. The name here just doesn't really matter, but I find it easier just to kind of line it up with whatever it is you're doing. So we're going to call it the provider chest. Maybe just for the sake of understanding, like, this name doesn't have to actually do anything. So what conditions are we going to make this go to our target, which is going to be this station, and wait until full cargo. So this is what we want in place of scheduling it here. So we're going to end up setting interrupts that meet a circuit condition, and it does it while we have empty cargo. So what are the circuit conditions that we're going to make? Well, I will kind of show you with the train station, like what's going to end up happening, but we are going to be looking for very specific signals because we want the train stations at the hub, when they are able to bring in more trains, we want those stations to send out a signal to the trains and the mining outposts that, hey, we are ready for more, please send more. So we're going to have circuit signals that say, we'll start with coal, and it's going to be greater than 0 because we're going to be sending out a signal of 1 or greater. And for every item, we are going to set this same circuit condition. So stone is going to be greater, and we want this bracket. So we want the circuit condition to be met and an empty cargo, or this bracket, or this bracket, or this bracket. So let's go iron next, needs to be greater. Copper next, needs to be greater. Greater than 0. So this is what our list is. And when this is accepted, it will accomplish this. It will then go to a provider, and one that is specifically available. So we're going to set this up. I know that might be a little confusing at first, but you will see shortly. So I'm going to save that interrupt. And so how does it even receive the signal? So we are going to end up connecting all of the train stations together at the shunting yard, and we are going to have our big electric power poles. This is why in our large city block we have all of these red and green wiring connections, because we are spreading the circuit to other places. Now, to be honest, like, I really didn't have to set these up. I didn't remember to do this in episode 6. I think we did this like in episode 7 or 8, setting up the red and green wiring. You don't even really need to do that. They changed the radar to be able to do the same thing. So, for instance, you just need a radar in this situation. This would be connected to the radar would be connected to the green signal there. We're not going to be connecting the hub train station to the green. I'm just doing this for kind of a visual, giving you like a decent idea. Obviously it would need power. I'm not too worried about what has power right now. But this is another option. But we have it set up so that the green wire goes all the way around our city block blueprint. And within each of these shunting stations, we would send signal to train. And that's it. We would also enable a limit of 1 for each of these. And that's pretty important. If we did not limit these to 1, then we would have situations where trains would want to come. Anyways, we're going to set up a shunting yard shortly. So all of these would just simply be named provider. And I believe these would also be set to the green network. And it only needs to know, in this case, let's say that this one is stone. This is where we would let it know, let the network know. And that is, I believe, all we need for this one. So we are going to end up setting up a way for the train hub to read the contents of the chest, determine how many trains it can fit, and we're going to cap this. We're only going to have a couple of trains because we have a very limited amount of... Where's my train hub blueprint? So each of these can obviously fit 1, and then we have about... So we have 18 there, but we have how many train stations? 16. So we have like basically the ability to have 1 here and 1 waiting for this. So we're probably going to set it around like a 2 cargo limit. We could probably add on to this and then just assume that we would be able to fit like 3. But we're going to set up combinators in a way that will allow us to send a signal when the train is able to accept more trains. The signal is usually sent, and then the train, as you can, or the station that is going to end up receiving that signal, as you can see, is currently disabled, so no train would come here even if we had this set. We would just manually set this at like 2. It would only enable when that signal was up, and then it would go, oh, hey, by the way, we have a limit of 2. 2 trains would then show up. One would show up here, one would show up at like a stacker. They would get filled up, and then they would fulfill the order here. And afterwards, all they know is they have to go to shunting. So this was the provider section. We went over that. So we're going to end up setting up a way to receive these signals. And it can be more too. So, we've got 7 different sections that are going to be bringing in iron ore. So we could have up to 7 signals of iron ore being sent out. Anyways, before we get into that, we need another interrupt. Obviously, we need a requester interrupt. I'm not going to be naming these provider and requester. I'm going to be naming these provider chest and requester chest in the actual save. So what are the conditions for this? So the conditions for this are we need this to happen, like whatever we're doing here, we need this to happen after we go to the provider. So when we go to the provider, we are going to stay until the cargo is full. So we're going to have a full inventory when we want the requester interrupt to be triggered. So the conditions, what we want to have to enable this interrupt is, we are going to call this item, no, not item count. We're not going to do item count. Okay, we just need full cargo. If you were to manually move trains off of full cargo, this could totally mess you up. Like, let's say that you hopped in a train, it had just started unloading its iron ore, and you hopped in this train. You have now completely ruined this interrupt system because it will neither have full cargo to go to a requester, nor will it have empty cargo to go to a provider. So we maybe could just say, you know what, if item count is, and we're going to kind of parameterize this. This is an item parameter symbol. This means that the train is basically going to figure out what it has on its own. So if the item parameter is greater than 0, so that'll cover anything from full cargo to barely not full cargo. You know what, we could also say or full cargo, just to be on the safe side. So it needs to have something in its inventory greater than 0, or we can just be safe and say or full cargo. And the target will be very specifically the hub station that we want. And in this case, we have it set for... Oh, no. Sorry. I take that back. We don't want it to be specific. We want this to be item parameter and requester chest. Whew, that was almost a nice little mix up. So why are we doing this? So the reason we're doing this is because it will determine what item it has and go to the requester chest that is associated with the item that it has. So it will know if it goes to stone, it will know to go to the stone station. If it goes to coal, it will know to go to the coal station using this here. Weight condition will be just empty cargo. All we need you to do is empty your cargo. You are fine to sit there and wait until your cargo is empty, and we're going to save that interrupt. So that is what our train is going to end up looking like. We will save this to a group. We're not going to do that now. We will set this up again once we get into the world. I mean, I could do this and like save it, but like save it as a blueprint, but I'm not too worried about it right now. We're mostly just kind of getting through the basics of our, well, I guess the basic build and the advanced build. And this is going to end up being a 2-part because we need to make a shunting station, and we still need to actually set up the combinators and parameterize some of the blueprints, and we can do, you know, setting up the trains and stuff in the next episode. So let's hurry up and let's get a shunting station down. So what are we going to need? We're going to need a straight rail. No. We're going to need a stacker. We're going to use the model for the stacker to make this a little bit faster. So we want to have somewhere for the trains to come in. So I'm just going to remove all of this. So this will allow them to come in. This will allow them to come out. And And we are going to... Why is this so big? I want this to take up the length of 2 city blocks, so I can get rid of this top section. And we are going to get rid of these as well. And we're not going to go past where these would be anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Oops. So I'm going to copy all of this, and I'm just going to put a minimum, not this minimum, a minimum amount of area that we can still squeeze in train stations. That might be too many. I guess we could just do 20. And then these would need to connect this way. Make sure there's no kinks. Like that. And it looks like we're going to end up setting this up for... I mean... we can toss this somewhere in the middle. You know, it doesn't matter. So this is going to be shunting. We're going to save that. Enable train limit of 1. Yes, please. And then we're going to... Well, I guess first I'm going to make sure that these are all placed. Then we are going to green circuit connect these, green wire connect these, and it needs to be the green wire. Anytime we bring a signal in from outside, generally, for the most part, we want to use the green signal, the green wire, and then anything that's done internally, we want to make sure that it is mostly the red wire. We can still use the green wire inside like a different circuit network, as long as it doesn't get broadcast to the greater network. I guess technically we didn't even really, like, I never have a situation where I needed this red wire on the full setup. So under normal circumstances, we will probably need to manually connect, because we don't know which of these actual power towers. It's like Schrodinger's power tower. We don't know which one is going to be the one, so we can't really connect them. But we can connect them all to each other, and for now, just, I don't know, place. Let's just say something like this, and know that we would be able to. I don't know if that would actually work. Probably not. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. I don't think it would, but let's just, you get the idea, right? We need the signals coming from outside. And then these train stations need to, I think I'd said that already. These need to send to train. We don't need to read train contents because it won't have any. We don't need the set limit because we're only going to have one. We don't need to read the train count. No priority. Okay. So I believe this is going to be our shunting station. We need to add in some rail signals. But after this is always a situation, like, you always want to do this. Every time you add a train station, you bare minimum need a rail signal after. We are not going to be able to break this up, and that's fine. We can just break it up there. And this does not need to be... these can all just be regular rail signals. We can leave that one as a chain. That's fine. It can then look for any of these other ones. You know what? Just to be on the safe side, we'll do all of these rail chain signals. That is so much space for such like small trains. Almost wasted space, but I mean, it kind of matches up with our entrance and exit, so I'm not worried about it. We're gonna have these like dinky tiny little trains over here. This is as big as they're gonna be, and it's gonna be like, oh, look, we got like a bunch of trains over. They're tiny. There you go. It could fit a 2-6 train. But we're going to be using 1x2s. And we would maybe consider using this for 1x4 trains as well. So since we had this stacker blueprint already, everything else is already signaled. The chains in the middle, we've got rail signals here, rail signal coming in. Rail, that's a chain, rails on the exiting platforms, exiting rails. Okay, and that's going to be it. That is going to be our blueprint. So let's copy all of this. We're going to remove our big electric power poles and the roboports and save. Go back in. We want to snap to grid. We're going to do 96 and 96. Absolute. And we're going to drag our flag down to the middle of the stacker blueprint and save. Name it Shunting. And there you go. Oh, right. We would have to force stamp down roboports. But we are clear of that. So that, okay. I am perfectly fine with that. I'm happy with that. Okay, so that is going to be it for this episode. In the next episode, we are going to set up combinators. We're going to set up parameters. We're probably going to do that in the world that we've created. Maybe. Yeah, because I can grab some combinators, so we can set that up in the world. I mean, it would be a little bit easier to set it up here. Okay, I'm not too worried about it. We'll see. Maybe I'll do some testing, and if it seems way easier to do it here, then we'll do it here. And if it seems like I'll be fine doing it there, then we'll do it there. Okay, so that is it for this episode. If you've been enjoying my content, well, you know what to do. We have a Discord server, so yeah, Discord is going to be, the link is going to be in the description. I post all of my blueprints there. If you want some of the blueprints, I'll be making... The blueprints that I'll be making for the next episode will be very specific, so I'm not going to make like a whole... you know what? Whatever. We'll figure it out in that episode, right? So, yeah, I will see you in the next episode, and thanks for watching.